Is is it on? Is it on? I don't
Uh,
know if it's on.
I think it's on.
Is it on? Oh yeah, it is plugged in.
Hey Yasmine, guess who's our special guest today?
Today, we have a very, very special guest. He is loved by many and hated by some. All right. I think that every student in AOU think of him as the perfect tutor.
Today we have our special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you guys for having me. My name is Mr. Mohammad Farran, born in Kuwait in 1984. So I'm almost 40. I can't believe I'm reaching 40. Grew up in this country as well. I didn't really like my schooling when I was here. Joined Kuwait University
Yeah.
at the age of 17, and then proceeded to get my master's degree from the University of Brighton. I came back after spending 1 year abroad, and then taught in two different schools for around 3 years, and then I joined the AOU in 2009, and yeah, I'm still teaching after so many years, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited for today's episode, and I feel like Mr. Farhan is someone who is quite interesting to get to know and to talk to. What made you want to become a teacher?
Okay. To be honest, I wasn't really sure of what I really wanted to do after graduation because I remember at the age of 17, as I told you, when I went to uni,
Mm.
I had to choose, I had to choose my major, and I really honestly, I wasn't like I wasn't mature enough to actually choose like a major or a future. I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my dad told me that I should join the English department. I wanted to be an engineer for some reason.
Mm.
I had this idea of, building homes for the homeless and, building mosques and so on.
That's so nice.
Yeah, but the thing is, I wasn't really good in physics or math. So yeah, so my dad made me a deal. He's like, listen, if this is what you really want to do, show me that you deserve to be there, and show me your grades and so on. So I went there for the first semester. I joined the engineering department, and the first semester for me was just it was horrendous. It was horrible. I didn't do very well. I didn't feel like I belonged there, and so on. So after one semester, I switched to the English department, and then that's where I kind of I found my calling somehow. I fell in love with reading and writing and poetry, and I just felt like it was so empowering. And when it comes to teaching, I was like, if I ever do become a teacher, like I just want to influence other people. I want to give them hope. I want to change lives, and I saw it like from the first 2 years of teaching. I saw how much power I have as a teacher and how much influence I have over students.
And that's exactly what you're doing. And I feel like lots of students would agree on that you are changing lives, whether you
Thank
know
you.
it or not. I loved like the whole story of trying for something first, as in like majoring in engineering,
True.
and then you just fell in love with English.
Yeah, and
That's absolutely incredible.
yeah, I have to give credit to my dad as well because instead of like, because he knew me better than I knew myself, and instead of forcing me to join the English department, he made me see like he made me make my own mistake.
Yeah.
Because if he forced me into the English department, like if I'm having a bad day now, I might say, oh God, it's all because of my dad. I wish he let me know be an engineer. But my dad made me he made me see my own weaknesses. He made me make a mistake, and because of that mistake, I found my calling, and I found what I really want to do in life.
I kind of relate to that, doctor, about physics and math. So yeah, it's still terrible, even though I'm an ITC student. But that's actually really interesting. And I want to hope that, inshallah, after I graduate and get my master's degree, and inshallah get my PhD as well. Like I did think about like teaching, and thought about it for quite a while. But for you as someone who has been experienced with teaching for far too long, so the question is like, what is the best thing about teaching?
I mean, to be honest, there are many beautiful things about teaching, and obviously, I think the number one thing that comes to mind when I think of this question is obviously the power you have to change lives. I mean, if you think of the professions that we have, the careers that we have, it's very rare to come across a profession or a career where you can actually change someone's life, to inspire people, to give them hope, to take someone who doesn't like to read and then suddenly, they fall in love in reading because of something you did or because of a book you recommended. It's so empowering to be a teacher. And again, as I said earlier, I saw it like in the first 2 years of teaching. I saw the power that a teacher holds, and the influence you have as a teacher. And it's not about the money. Some people think teaching is good because you get paid well. I mean, the pay is okay, but it's not about the pay or about the
Yeah.
vacations. It's really about the like the it's like when a student comes to you and says, thank you, Mr. Farran, for I love reading because of you, or thank you for helping me, write better.
Yeah.
Those things are priceless. You can't put a price on that.
It feels good though.
It's more than good, man. It's like it's life changing. It's a feeling I just can't describe. It's a feeling. It's
Yeah.
this. You get this inner fulfillment, this inner feeling of this warmth inside you that you've actually changed someone's life for the better.
Yeah. And do you think like it's kind of like, I don't know, for me, when if I felt like being a teacher, it feels like I'm passing on the legacy. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I mean, like like when you become a teacher, inshallah, well, like even Yasmine as well. If you guys decide on becoming teachers or professors in the future, I mean, you are going to you're hopefully going to leave a mark on students that is everlasting. I mean, like
Yeah.
when you think of teachers, you think of two types. The ones who hurt you, the ones who were
Um,
absolutely horrible, and the ones who were amazingly inspirational, the ones who actually left a mark on you. And again, if I think back to my school days, I can like recall one or two teachers who actually left a good mark on me, and that's what I want to be. I want to be that kind of teacher. I want to be the teacher that leaves a mark. I want to be a teacher that that kind of leaves this feeling of hope and inspiration. And I want students to remember me as someone who did their best. Someone who tried their best to leave a positive impact on them.
I mean, I think that's happening right now,
I hope so.
right?
I hope so.
And I feel like for me, inshallah, when I become a teacher, I want to pass on down that legacy as well. Like the informations that we have and the knowledge that we have. I mean, it's different from one person to another. And I feel like with Mr. Farran, you learn so much because it doesn't feel like he's teaching you something. It feels like he's a friend that's kind of telling you a story, and then you just learn from that story.
Yeah.
And this is the best thing about you, honestly.
Thank you, Jess.
okay, so I have a quick question though. So what keeps you motivated to teach?
That's a good question. So basically, you see, when you think of the world and you listen to the news, there's just so much like negativity going around. And for me, I feel like teaching empowers students and people in general. So I feel like sometimes when I have like a weak student in my class, he's like a victim of his previous schooling experience. And when I come into the picture, I feel like I have the power to change his perspective or her perspective. So what keeps me motivated is the feedback I get from students, the power I hold as a teacher. I know that I can make a difference, and that keeps me back. And I also have like I highly respect knowledge.
Yeah.
For its sake. I have a lot of respect for people who seek knowledge, people who want to learn, people who want to improve their situation. And I truly believe that knowledge can change the world. Like knowledge can change your entire existence. It can empower you. It can help you find your voice. You learn to speak for yourself. You learn to voice your thoughts and your concerns. There's just so much. Like, I mean, to be honest, like, I don't think I've ever mentioned this to anybody, but I think like, like my admiration of reading and writing and knowledge in general, I think saved my life.
Oh, wow.
Because if it wasn't for that, I would have taken a different path, a totally different path. So my love for knowledge and reading and seeking more knowledge just really, it landed me where I am today. It saved my life, honestly.
But sir, like with exams and quizzes and like correcting papers and all of that, what keeps you going? Like, okay, this is fun for me. Like, I want to go back to class. And sometimes even like I attended classes with Mustafa where it's like some of the students aren't really participating, right? Or you feel like they're not really that active in class.
Yeah.
What keeps you going? Like, it's fine. Like, I'm gonna try my best and I'm gonna continue to do me, basically.
True. I mean, when I think of teaching, like, let's say I have 30 students in my class, right? I mean, I know that realistically it's going to be hard for me to get to all of them, to inspire all of them. But at the end of the day, if I can inspire just maybe 3 or 4 students, then I think I've done my job, I try my best to, to get to everyone. I try my best to get the, the shy person at the back to speak and so on. And of course, with like just like any other job, there are like exhausting parts of each job. Like the marking process sometimes is it's a bit exhausting, but it's also a sign for me. Like if I feel like the students didn't do very well, that could be like a reflection of me. Maybe I didn't cover the material properly. Maybe I need to go back and maybe take things, maybe slow down a bit. So I think marking, yes, it is exhausting and it is time consuming, but at the same time, it kind of gives you a taste of reality. Like, am I teaching the right things? Maybe I should slow down. Maybe I need to pay more attention to certain things in the curriculum. So yeah, I mean, there are obviously like with any job around the world, there are a few things which teachers might not like, or the person doing the job might not like. But like I look at teaching as like a holistic. I have like a holistic approach. Overall, I mean, as a teacher, I have the power in class to change people's lives, to inspire them, and so on. So that keeps me going, to be honest.
Okay, speaking of classes and students, do you think that professors have a favorite student?
It's a good question, and I don't think as teachers like we have like favorite students, but I feel like we prefer certain students over others. And when I say prefer, I don't mean like someone who has blue eyes, or no, I don't mean that. What I'm trying to say is like, I feel like we as teachers, we prefer, or like we value the students who value our time. So if I feel like students are putting in the effort and they care about what we say, then we kind of value them a bit more than others. That, I mean, I don't mean to say that we don't value others, but what I'm trying to say is I highly respect the students who come to class every day, who work hard, who ask me questions, who are paying attention. So those are the kind of students I actually like, I feel like they care about me, so I kind of give them that extra attention. Obviously, we try to get the shy ones to speak as well, but yeah, like I mean, as a teacher, we have to be very careful. We have to draw, like we have to be careful not to obviously favor anyone over someone else, because if we do that, then it won't be fair for the other students. So yeah.
So, quick question though. Am I your favorite student even though I'm an ITC student?
I cannot answer that until you come to class.
Oh, sure, sure. The thing is, what did people teach you throughout the years?
So before teaching in AOU, I was teaching in two different schools for a total of 3 years. And honestly, the thing I learned most was to be patient. I mean, in teaching, you have to be patient. If you're not patient, I mean, this isn't the right job for you. Students might not understand, the things you teach from the get-go. You have to go back and explain certain concepts, go back and teach certain ideas. I also learned to never lose hope in students. I remember I had this one student in class, and he was just one of the weakest students I've ever seen in my whole life. And I remember I read a book about dealing with like difficult students, because I tried everything like in my head. I tried to get through to this person and nothing seemed to work. So obviously I had to like resort to a book or someone who knew more than I did. And this book told me that whatever you do, don't lose hope in that student. That student could eventually learn something because of you, because of like you not losing hope, right? So I took the student aside and I made him like, I mean, I treated him like my like my own like little brother. And by doing that, when the student realized that I actually cared about him, he actually started to put in the effort to actually work harder. Like he wanted to impress me in class.
Wow.
So that was really empowering. Like I saw it in my eyes. Like I'm like, how, wow, this is amazing. Like, and when I came to AOU, I tried to make this my mission, to actually show students that I actually care about your progress. Like I care about what's happening in your life. If you're facing an issue, come to my office. We can sit down and talk about it. Like I want students to know that I actually care about you. If you're ever absent, I want to know why were you absent? Are you okay? What's going on like in your life, right? So I think like when teachers show students that they actually care, they might get like a similar feeling back from the students. So that feeling is kind of like reciprocated back from the student, to the teacher. So I mean, like I learned a lot of things in AOU. I learned to be more open-minded, to accept students' opinions. I don't have all the answers. Sometimes students teach me things. It's okay not to know. It's good to be humble when you're a teacher. So there are, I mean, like numerous things you can learn from students, and that's what I think. This is what makes teaching very interesting as a career or like a job, because we don't have all the answers, and sometimes your own students can teach you, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mr. Farran, do you feel like you're a strict teacher?
I don't. I feel like I'm maybe strict in certain areas
Yeah.
in my class, but I'm like generally speaking, as like an overall teacher, no, I don't see myself as a strict teacher. I feel like I have high standards for my students because I know that they can rise up to the occasion. And but no, generally speaking, like in my class, I make jokes in my class. I try to go down to the students' level. I try to connect with my students.
Yeah.
I try to give them like relevant examples. So let's say there's like a popular show going on, so I might give them references from that show. So I mean, I don't want to have this huge gap between myself and the students. I want the students to know that they can that I'm someone that they can like talk to. I'm approachable. They can relate to me, right? And I think that's very important. So I may be strict in certain areas, like maybe when it comes to grading or marking, but I'm also fair. Like I have to be fair. I have because I'm Mr. Farran, I have the 4 Fs which I like to follow. Every teacher has to be every good teacher
Okay.
has to follow those 4 Fs. What are they? Number 1, you have to be fair as a teacher. Okay. Number 2, you have to be friendly, but firm and fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Firm, friendly, fair, and fun. Those are Mr. Farran's 4 Fs. To be a good teacher, you have to have those 4 Fs. That's what I believe.
Should write a book about
Yeah.
it.
Because I mean, if you're not fun, students are not going to come to your class.
Oh, definitely.
We always tell teachers, new teachers, give students a reason to come back to your class. Right? So that's number 1. Be fun. Be friendly, yet firm. If you're too firm, they won't like you. If you're too friendly, they're going to walk all over you.
Yeah.
And of course, be fair. No one, I mean, no one wants to take any courses with any teachers who are not fair. So I think if you have those four qualities, four with an F as well, uh, if you have those four qualities, you should be good to go. Yeah, that's what I mean. Students see me as a strict teacher, by the way. If you
Yeah,
ask
I was about to
students,
say that.
yeah.
This is why I said you're loved by many but hated by some, because I personally like heard lots of students go, oh no, he's actually really strict, don't take with him. I've taken like 2 courses with you because I had so much fun, but at the same time I gained so much knowledge from you. Honestly, I don't see you as a strict professor.
Yeah, same. I don't see myself. I think it's because maybe students compare me with the like, you know, with like previous teachers, because I teach like, you know, second year, first year, second year
Yeah.
students. You know, a lot of them are like, you know, fresh from high school. So maybe they're comparing me with, you know, with their previous tutors from high school, and compared to them, I might be strict. But if you ever come to my class, you will see that, you know, I like to kind of, you know, throw a few jokes here and there. I like to relate to the students. I like to kind of give them, you know, relevant examples. When it comes to grading, obviously in marking, you know, because I have like high standards for my students. I know that if I raise the bar, they can, you know, they can reach it. So that's why maybe students see me as someone who's strict. But I mean, honestly, I don't see myself as someone who's strict.
Okay, so Mr. Farran, one last question. So, what advice would you give students?
That's a good question, actually. I mean, I know that, you know, like most teachers would say something like, you know, study hard, you know, take care of your studies and so on, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, I have something I want to tell students, and that is if you can make reading a daily habit in your life, just like, you know, brushing your teeth. I hope that, you know, students brush their teeth. And if you can make like reading a daily habit in your life, it's really going to change your life, right?
Yeah.
So think about it. If you read for like 15 to 20 minutes every single day before you go to sleep, because let's be honest, you know, before most of us go to bed, we're usually holding our phones. We're usually on social media, wasting time. We're on YouTube watching some silly cat videos. So
Specifically, why cat videos? Though? Do you watch
they
cat
seem to,
videos?
no, they seem to be popular these days.
Oh, okay.
So instead of using your phone before you go to bed, why not use that time, you know, to educate yourself, to learn the language? Just make it a daily habit, you know? It's like praying, it's like doing those things that actually matter like in your life, right? And I promise you, if you make reading a daily habit in your life, it's going to change you. Imagine 20 minutes every single day, 20, 20, 20, 20. Like in a couple of months, you're going to get new ideas, you're going to get language, you're going to get vocabulary, spelling, sentence structure, you're going to be inspired. There's just so much you can get when you read, you understand? And like our own religion encourages us to read. I mean, we have like we are supposed to be like knowledge seekers from the day, you know, from the day we're born until the day we die. So I highly, highly, if you want one piece of advice, think of you know, reading a book, making reading a daily habit in your life, especially before you go to bed. It's relaxing, it's calming, it's also inspiring, and you know, it's truly going to change your life, and you can thank me later.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, okay, you thank me now.
I guess that's pretty much it. So I just want to thank you so much, Mr. Farran, for coming to our podcast today. And I want to thank the ELC members as well for listening to our own podcast.
Again, thank you so much, Mr. Farran. I really appreciate you taking the time of your day and making it with us here today. Yeah, and that would be it.
I'm not done.
This is a trap. What is going on here?
You guys grilled me for the past
Okay.
20 minutes.
What is that though?
Now it's my time to interview you guys.
Did you listen to what he said?
I'm kind of scared.
I have questions for you.
Wait, what?